Hey y'all, it's Bethany here. Welcome back to my channel, Bethany Brings Books. It is a beautiful Thursday evening. Tomorrow is the 4th of July. I am getting ready to enjoy my weekend off. Probably going to be doing a vlog this weekend, but this is going to be a separate video. I thought it would be fun for us to just chat about some other things that I have been reading lately. Haven't done a reading update, so figured it was about time I do one. So I've got my cup of green, I guess cherry blossom green tea. So let's get started chatting, y'all. First of all, I thought we would chat about the books that I do not own. I have been reading a lot of library books this year, like a lot more than I normally do. I see my library a lot, and although I should definitely be reading more of the books that I own, I have also enjoyed using my library and reading some things from there. Recently talked about how I started a Denise Hunter series. It's an older series. I can't remember what it's called, but it's set out in the Montana. I read the first one recently, and so I followed it up with the second in the series, which was called The Accidental Bride. This is a marriage of convenience type story, second chance romance. So I'm not going to remember everybody's names. There's this woman who grew up in this town, and her boyfriend from high school suddenly shows back up in town. And years ago, they I don't remember if it was right when she was about to graduate or right after she graduated and turned 18. They decided to run off together and get married. As they're running away to get married, some circumstances take place, and he just takes off and basically gets cold feet and takes off and joins the rodeo. I think it's the rodeo. And so she is left to face the town on her own, humiliated, and it's 15 years later, and she at this point is a widow. She had remarried. She had gotten married, and her husband divorced her and then died not long after that. And she has a maybe a 12-year-old daughter, and then her old flame comes back into her life, and this whole thing happens, and it ends up that they are accidentally married. There's this whole story behind it. There's this town event that happens, and anyway, I don't want to spoil too much, but they end up accidentally married, and they decide to stay married for a while to help. Well, she does it because she's financially about to go under, and she does it to help provide for her daughter, and he is still in love with her, and he's like, I want to try to reconnect and work things out and make up for what I did wrong. And yeah, it's that second chance romance set out in Montana on a ranch, marriage of convenience. So yeah, it was a cute story. I think I gave it 3.5 stars, maybe. I'm not sure. I don't know what I gave it. I'd have to look back and see. Nothing that blew me out of the water, but a fun, cute story. I like Denise Hunter's books. She definitely follows, or used to, some of her newer books might not be like this, but she definitely follows that, you have the two characters who are beginning a romance, and they're starting to fall for each other, and then all of a sudden you get to the end, and of course there's a twist and something happens, and it's like, oh no, is this going to tear them apart? And then they reconcile, and sometimes the twist can be a little bit really, you're acting kind of immature, why is this? There's a third act breakup type thing. So I feel like a lot of her older books follow that formula. So this is definitely along those lines. But if you're looking for a cowboy romance, something easy to read for the summer, and it's also a good summer book because while you're reading it, there's a 4th of July event that takes place, I think, in the town. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I really like reading Denise Hunter's books. They're very readable and just a good palate cleanser. One of the things, that was it. Yeah, I knew there was something in it. I was trying to think, there was something in it a little bit deeper that spoke to my heart. There was something in it that spoke to my heart about the main character. There's some themes where she kind of goes not talks about it, but like works through the fact later on in the book that she is very much a people pleaser and very much worried about what people think about her. Constantly throughout the book, she's like so worried about what people think about her, and she finally gets to that point like, I've got to worry about not worry about what people think about me, but be concerned about what God thinks. That was a thread through the story that kind of was brought out at the end. That part did speak to me, because that's something that I struggle with, is worrying about what people think and just comparing myself to other people a lot. And so I appreciated that in the story, and then that was something that dealt with me, that my heart needed. So read that one, and then I read another book that I'm going to briefly mention on here. I read about 60% of this book and then skimmed the rest. It was just very long and very slow in my opinion, but it is called Waves of Redemption by Estelle Klein, and this is a new to me author, indie published. I think this was maybe her first book. I think she has a second one in this series. And overall, like, I feel like, yes, it was well written. I feel like it was well researched. It's like a pirate. If you're looking for like a pirate adventure story, you like Pirates of the Caribbean, that type of story, this kind of feels like that, but with heavier themes and topics. It deals with sexual assault and trafficking. So yeah, it has some heavier themes, but it follows this woman who was assaulted at a young age. I'm trying to remember all the details. She was like sent, her father was gonna make her marry this man or something, and anyway, she ends up being assaulted and she runs away and ends up on a pirate ship, and later on becomes a captain of a pirate ship. She is suddenly trying to enact revenge on this man, and he's like, why is this woman, he's like a merchant, a sea merchant, I think, or something. I don't remember exactly what it is. I think he's traveling with his ship, and she keeps trying to like attack his ships or something, and he's like, why is this pirate obviously targeting me? And she has her reasons for targeting him, and he doesn't understand because he doesn't think he knows this pirate. It's the story of her slowly finding her way to redemption, unraveling of everything that's happened to her. And I didn't give it a rating because, like I said, I read 60% and then skimmed the rest, and it was, as far as being like well researched, it was well researched. I feel like the author is definitely talented. It just, for me, was really long and really slow paced. I like the setting and like the theme, like pirate stories are always fun to me. Even though it did have heavier topics that it dealt with, and it dealt with like God's grace and redemption, but it was way too long and way too slow paced and just very drawn out. But I have friends on Instagram who've read it and loved it, and I think some people would really love this, really enjoy it. But like I said, for me, it was just really too long. I think it was like 400 plus pages, if I remember correct, on my Kindle app. I'd have to look and see, but I actually bought the ebook. Anyway, I read that one. And the other book that I finally finished, I started this way back in May, whenever we went on our trip to Williamsburg and Jamestown, and that was Tidewater Bride by Laura France. I don't know how to say her name, guys. Please, explain it to me in the comments. Laura France. I don't know. Anyway, this was my first book by her, and it was really fun starting this at Jamestown because I'm reading about all of these places, and it's really fun because I'm there, and also just even the fact that I've been there twice now, and now that I'm back home, I'm imagining it. Like, as I was reading it, I was imagining all the places, and so that was really fun. I was really impressed with this book. Laura France now is like definitely on my read to zero list. I enjoyed all of the historic details and aspects. I felt like I learned a lot from this book about this period in time. So this book follows Selah, who is a young woman living in the Virginia colony in the 1600s, and the colony at Jamestown is like maybe 30 something years old, and there's a lot going on. Living in that time period in the New World, life was very fragile, and there was always the fear of many different things, of starvation, attacks by Native Americans. Life then was just fragile. And so we see Selah, her father is a shop owner in Jamestown, and she has helped him with his shop, and she's been helping him with the shop, and she has, at the beginning of the story, a ship arrives with Tidewater Brides, which is a historic, actually like a part of history that it's interesting. Actually, there were Tidewater Brides that the colony was mostly male, or Jamestown was mostly male, so they sent women over for these men to find wives. So anyway, the start of the book opens up with that. Selah has already been living in Jamestown for like her whole life, and so this ship arrives, but Selah is obviously not married herself, and so there's kind of that wondering of like, when is she gonna get married? And she has a long time had this kind of attraction for a childhood friend named Xander, and he is one of the largest landowners in the Virginia colony, and he's wealthy, and he is a widow. He was married to a Powhatan woman, Native American, who died several years earlier, and so he's kind of just devoted himself to his work, to raising his tobacco crop and his land and everything, and but he's beginning to be attracted to Selah, but he isn't pursuing her right now, and so it's just their story of like them exploring their feelings for each other. They're exploring their relationship, but all the while, there's tensions going on in Jamestown. There's tensions with the Powhatan Indians. There's Selah's father has health issues, and so it's just like some of the things of life going on around them. It's just interesting. Like, I feel like I learned a lot about that time period, the Jamestown colony, the Powhatan Indians, and this story is actually, she said she based it on the true story of Pocahontas and John Rolfe. I think it's John Rolfe, which was interesting. When we went to Jamestown, we saw there's a statue of Pocahontas there. Like I said, I found all the historic details very interesting. I found her writing style good. It was very, very, very slow burn romance. The romance was very light, very tender and sweet. And towards the end, at probably the last 25%, a lot of stuff starts happening. Some of it was kind of sad, like quite sad, and I was like, okay, everything's happening at once. I feel sorry for these people. All of this stuff's happening. Yeah, a lot happens right at the end, and but she ties it all together really well, and it didn't feel like she just like threw a bow on it or anything. It felt like she explored the different situations and tied the story up beautifully, but not like in a predictable way. It was good. I enjoyed it. I gave it 5 stars. I think it was very well written. If you love early American history, if you love like just rich historic details, this is a fantastic book for you. Now on to the books that I actually own, and I have been reading a lot of contemporary, y'all. In my opinion, summer is just the perfect time to read a lot of contemporary books. So I have been reading a lot of contemporary books, and that's what I've been in the mood for until the last week and a half, probably. Now, this past week, 4th of July, I've been reading a lot more historic books, trying to read some like patriotic historic books, but during June, I did read a lot of contemporary. So first of all, let's chat about this book. This is a new author that I have started reading, and her name is T. Bell. She is an indie published author. She writes emotional Christian fiction, delving into like harder topics, no spice, clean fiction, but delving into like deeper, harder, emotional topics. So this is called Redemption, and this is the first in her Rising from the Ashes series. I think I said one time that it was Benton Falls, but it's not. It's Rising from the Ashes, book 1. Benton Falls is where the story takes place, the town. This follows a young woman who she's back in her hometown because of some things that have happened, and this return to her hometown is just like very it's not traumatic, but it's very it's like tearing open old wounds because she's having to deal with trauma that she never really healed from. She lost her brother when she was a teenager, and along with that, she lost her really close friend, her brother's best friend, who she was very close to, and they have a history together. And so when she comes back to town, his name is Hayes, and he's a police officer now. She's a nurse, and when she comes back to town, this crazy situation happens, and so they're immediately she's like on the side of the road, broke down, and I don't remember if she ran out of gas or had a flat tire or something, and she accidentally like hits him in the head with a tire iron. She does it. He like comes up behind her and she doesn't realize it. And anyway, so yeah, that's how they meet back up in like the first few pages, and they never dealt with all of the pain and the trauma that came from her brother's death, and like there was just a lot there that they never really fully unpacked. And she has issues with her parents, and there was just a lot of trauma with that with her parents. And this is the story of her coming back to town, and she's trying to figure out how to unpack all that trauma from those years. And her and Hayes are reconnecting, and she gets the job as the school nurse, and so Hayes also gets asked to be the football coach, and they end up working together to help a young man on the team who's having issues. And all of this is like it feels like a small town drama playing out, but I love it. Like I like that. I like the drama and the seeing all the different characters. I like how it's interconnected and all tied together. And yes, I enjoyed it. I read the first one, and I'm about to talk about the second one. The third one has not yet been published. I think it comes out later this year. But I enjoyed it. I think it's like if you're looking for an emotional read with Christian fiction, with Christian themes,
Mama,
then
let's
this
do
is good.
this one first.
No, I'm talking about this one right now. I'll do that one in a minute, okay? It's really
Mama,
good.
he has a tattoo, see?
Yeah, he does.
Read this book.
Read it? I already read it.
But read it again.
Read it again?
Yeah.
Can you put it right here on that stack so I can talk about it in a few minutes? Definitely emotional, heartfelt. Like overall, I enjoy her writing, like the stories that she's writing. I enjoy the themes she's going after, the stories, the deeper topics. I feel like there are some things with her writing style that could be refined. A few things, like some details, things at times. Some things that I feel a little repetitive. Some things I feel like could be smoothed out. And some things that I think could be improved. But overall, like, I enjoy the stories. I enjoy reading like what's going to happen next with these townspeople and these friends. So the second one in the series is called Penance, and this one is about the local fire chief, and he has recently come to town and reconnected with his son, his teenage son, which is one of the characters in this first book. So he was like a teen father. Were they married? Yeah, his wife. They got married. He was a teen father. They got married young. And then she basically, like, her parents force her to divorce him and take their baby. And so he ends up becoming an alcoholic, and he struggled for all these years. Well, now he has gotten himself together, and he's back on track. And He is the local fire chief, and he's trying to find his place in his son's life again. He wants to be involved in his son's life, and it explores their relationship, as well as his relationship with the school principal, the romance that begins to develop there, and she has some baggage from her childhood, some issues, some things like with her mom, and so she becomes a bit leery of him when she finds out some of his past issues. She's like, okay, she's a little leery because her mom had some issues when she was young, but it's their relationship and his relationship with his son, and them unpacking all of this pain and all of this trauma. How many times can I say the word trauma? Trauma. I love the traumatic books, y'all. As long as they have a happy ever after. But yeah, it's their story. I felt like the faith in this was lighter than in this one. That was like the one thing that, one of the things that I do wish I would have seen more. Neither of the main girl was not a Christian at all at the start, I don't think, and like really didn't know a lot about faith, if I remember right. And I think this probably could have been a bit longer and explored more of that, their faith aspect, and them coming to Christ and their like relationship with the Lord and Him healing them. It kind of feels like at the very end they all of a sudden start going to church. So that was one thing that I wish would have been a little bit more fleshed out. But overall, I am really enjoying this series. I think I gave 4 stars, maybe? Don't remember. The next one is called... What is the next one called? Redemption, Penance, Salvation, I think. And it is about one of the side characters in this book. But the third one is about one of the friends in this series. His name is Campbell. And I can already see some details in here. There's kind of some hints at him. Like he's always happy-go-lucky, putting on a happy face. The one that's always joking around. But I think underneath all that, he's hiding some mental health struggles, and so the third one I'm really looking forward to reading because y'all know mental health is important to my heart. So go check out T-Bill. Then Rebel Summer by Cindy Steele. Y'all, I have talked about this series, Falling for Summer. This series is so fun. I recently recommended it on my summer recommendations video, and I finished reading this. This is number 7 in the series, the final book in the series. I just have one more book to go, and it should be coming in the mail anytime, probably tomorrow, but no, Saturday I think. But yeah, this book follows Dax. What is his last name? Dax Miller, and he's like the island. This series is set on a small Florida island off the west coast of Florida, and Dax Miller is kind of like the bad boy of the town. He grew up being kind of getting into trouble and little things here and there, and he has finally reformed, and he runs a mechanic shop there on the island for the golf carts of the island because you can't drive cars. And this young lady comes back to town who her father was like the local senator. He lived on the island and he was wealthy, and she doesn't get along with her dad, and so it's her dad and her stepmom, and she's had to come back to town and gets into some trouble in the story, kind of accidentally in a way. She gets into some trouble and has to do community service, and she has to do community service with Dax, and so it's kind of funny because it's like the tables are flipped, and they were teenage kind of, they were classmates, rivals. So as she's having to do community service, they're reconnecting and sparks are flying, and it's just a really cute story. I gave it 4.5 stars. I love Cindy Steele's writing style. I think she writes really well. She manages to bring in some deeper topics as well. It was fun. I really like Dax. He's a sweetie pie, and it was cute. It was just a cute book. I really enjoyed it. It wasn't quite a 5-star for me because we don't get Dax's point of view, which I didn't like. I really, 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 really love having the female and the male POV when I read romance books with romance. So like that, I feel like I didn't quite get everything I wanted out of the story because of that, not having his POV. But other than that, it was a fun summer read. Really fun summer book, y'all. Y'all need to read this series. It's just the cutest series. So there is what I have read lately. Also, let me throw out a couple more things that I have read. The first two books in the Felicity series. I'm trying to reread this because it is, of course, Independence Week, and I like celebrating like throughout June, July, the summer, celebrating independence and freedom, and I've really been inspired by my dear friend over on Old American Spirit, her channel, to read more revolutionary, colonial, early American history books and themed stories. And it's a time period that I've always loved and wanted to read more of, and so now I'm really pursuing that. And so I read the first one and the second one, both 5 stars. I feel like these are just so well written, so well done. I read Kit last year, reread Kit last year, reread Samantha earlier this year, rereading this one now, and I just feel like this one to me is just, it's the best. Like, the writing is just really good. I feel like the stories are really good to be short stories, like, so as short as they are, they're just really well done. The first one, we meet Felicity. She finds her beloved horse Penny that she really wants to keep and raise, and of course the horse is being abused by its owner, and there's that story of Felicity falling in love with this beautiful horse. And the second one is we start to see some more of the things talk of the revolution and unrest, and she begins taking like lessons in how to be a proper lady, and there's it's starting to churn about in the air, like there's starting to be this churning and discussion and talk about not drinking tea and boycotting that, and so we see some things about that with Felicity having to decide what she believes and whose side she's on, and I can't wait to continue reading this. I might pick up the third one tonight and read it, but yep, there's that, guys. So that's what I have read. I'm also reading, I'm just going to briefly mention what I'm reading. I'm rereading We Redeem the Rain by Ashley Deal. I'm planning to read all of her books this summer, and this is beautiful. I'm slowly reading it, highlighting and taking my time with it to highlight and make notes, and beautiful emotional story. And I'm rereading A Girl Called Samson with several ladies over on Instagram. And look, y'all, I am tabbing this thing up, and I decided to just make my own tabs with washi tape. It's not like perfect or anything, but look, it's just cute. It's like Liberty, let me see if y'all can see it. It's kind of hard to see, but it is the Liberty Bell. It's like an Americana washi tape that I had, but it's stars. Yeah, maybe I could actually turn it upside. Maybe I could actually see it good. Patriotic Americana looking stars, and then these are like a bell. It looks like that one's upside down, but it looks like a Liberty Bell, sort of. I think they're very cute. Doing that, tabbing it up, and also what's really fun is that I have General Washington keeping me company as I read. He is right here alongside of me, and I thought it was funny today. I took a picture and put it on my Instagram. And she's like, "I might get to see General Washington," and I took a picture of that line, and then with my General Washington bookmark. I was like, "You might get to see General Washington." Oh, I'm going to be talking about this again. I'm probably going to do a separate video just about this because I love it so much. This is one of my all-time favorite books, and just Amazing book. Amazing. And I'm also reading this chunker, Patriots, the man who started the American Revolution. I am actually making pretty good progress, y'all, I feel like. For a nonfiction book that's so thick, I've read that much. I'm on page 163. So this is very slow. Or I wouldn't say slow, it's just very detailed. We're going all the way back to like precursors of the Revolution War and all the events leading up to it. But it's very interesting in my opinion. Like, I'm enjoying it. So I will talk more about it when I finish it, and maybe when I get further into it. Right now, I've just read about the Boston Massacre. That was like the last chapter I read about the trial of all that's involved, and it's just really interesting, y'all. I'm liking it. I'm finding it quite fascinating. So that's what I've been reading, guys. I've also picked this up, and I've read like 2 or 3 chapters. A Cloud by Day, A Fire by Night by A.W. Tozer, Finding and Following God's Will for You. I enjoyed this. Have enjoyed what I've read. I need to read some more. Here was a quote. I'm going to read this quote. I highlighted a few things, but this one. With all kinds of voices in the world, we are often caught up in those voices instead of God's. Even when he calls out, "Behold," to get our attention, we can miss out because we have surrounded ourselves with things and activities that drown out the voice of God. So I thought that was really good. Another quote, "I need to quiet my heart in order to hear God's direction. This must become a daily discipline for all of us. It is too easy and convenient to trust human inclinations. We gravitate toward earthly methods. We want human understanding. As a culture, we have become addicted to devices and technology. However, those who refuse to trust in these human inclinations and devices are the ones who have their ears open to hear the voice of the Lord." So I want to read more in this. I like having something like this. My goal is to read something like this on Sundays. Like, to really on Sundays to prioritize reading this. Not just read it on Sundays, but on Sundays prioritize reading something like this as well. It's my Bible. But I really haven't quite met that goal right yet. But that's something that I'm trying to do more of. But there you have it, guys. That's what I've been reading. I have enjoyed chatting about this with y'all. Can't wait to chat about some more fantastic books sometime soon. I am having an amazing summer. Enjoying my summer very much. I hope y'all are. I just really love summer, guys. And I'm enjoying my summer. So I will talk to you all later. Bye bye.